Hello guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you how I recreated this beautiful landing page design that I created in Claude and how to recreate it in Elementor in a very simple way. So as you can see, I created this design using Claude. So the idea was like what every other person has also been trying to figure out is how can I recreate this in Elementor in the simplest way possible. You understand? So the idea behind this was actually very simple. We already know that AI can help you um, edit your design into what Elementor JSON file, you understand. But what most people didn't understand was you could use an if or else kind of model. So we know this is my design. Let me open my Elementor builder here. So the idea was actually quite simple. So we know that's the design. So what we just wanted to do was you needed to tell it to interpret every part of the design as an Elementor widget. You understand? So it's like an if or else type of logic. You understand? So we know it has the heading part in the hero section. So if I click on this, you can see it is actually editable. So what I told it to do was it should look at all the design that was created, then convert the HTML file into editable Elementor JSON file, while making sure that it thinks in an if or else kind of way. By if or else, I mean we know this is the hero section. You understand? So the hero section has the sub heading here. It has the main heading here. It has the description here. So you know you can use the heading widget for this. You can use the heading widget for this. You can use the text widget for this. You understand? You can use the button widget for this. You can use the button widget for this. Then this bento part is actually where it got a bit tricky, and I will be explaining that soon. So basically, as you can see, everything is editable here. Like there's nothing you can click here that you cannot edit. So that beautiful design has been transferred into Elementor. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how I did this in two different ways. A way that will give you a carbon copy replica, and the other way would give you an almost carbon copy replica, but it would give you more creative control over how you want to edit. You understand? So as you can see, this is in Elementor. If you can check out the how it looks on the front end here, so it doesn't look like I'm just showing you a static Elementor screen. So as you can see, this is not much different from the prototype that was generated. This is actually what I regenerated in Elementor. This is the prototype. You understand? As you can see, it isn't much different. It isn't much different. There are only a few considerations that I would also be showing you, um, some limitations that I would also be showing you. So let's get straight down to Elementor and I'll teach you how to do it. So first of all, I'm going to remove all that we have on this page here so we can start afresh. So while we do that, I'm going to come back into my Claude chat interface here. So basically, as you can see, the instructions um, that I gave it, this was just a simple create. This was a simple create a SaaS prototype for me. You understand? No much thinking went into this, but then it's generated the template and the prototype for me, which is this. So then I told it to convert because I had already given it the instructions on what I need, on how I needed to convert. You understand? So the first conversion went like this, which is the one for the first prototype, but the first conversion type that we created. But I noticed some limitations which came back as a true limitation, that you can, if you have more um Claude token, if you're like Claude Pro, or if your AI provider gives you the ability to make more changes, you understand, you can actually get it right. But because of Claude free plans token limits, so I had to make this as concise as possible. So basically what you need to do is when you give it the prompt that it should convert it into Elementor JSON file. By the way, if you're looking for the code for if you're looking for the prompts, I have it on my website here. I'm going to drop the link in the description. As you can see, copy and paste for your own project. So this is for generating to convert to Elementor JSON. You understand? We have two versions. We have the HTML widget approach and the full HTML widget approach and the native grid approach, which converts every single element on the website into editable Elementor widgets. You understand? So back to this. So what you want to do is when it generates the JSON file for you, you want to download the JSON file, then you open the CSS file that it gives you. You understand? So when you do that, you come back to Elementor and you click on this folder button to open your templates. So when this opens up, what you want to do now is you want to import the JSON file. So to import, what you need to do is you click on this um, import button up here beside the refresh button. You click on it, then you find and import um, the JSON file. So I'm just going to insert this JSON file into the page now. So as you can see, the JSON file has been imported, but we don't have any of our CSS here. The only part that looks like the CSS is a bit there are the parts that it didn't edit into full Elementor widgets. Like this one now is just an HTML code. You understand? So this is why I said we have two versions. This gives you the perfect replica since it is just converting the HTML directly into JSON. You understand? So it gives you the perfect replica of the design. You don't have to do much, but the problem here is editing this is going to be quite stressful when you want to edit, especially if you're going to hand over the website to your client at the end of the day. So that is why we came up with a version 2. You understand? So it gives you something almost perfect. Like most of it is almost perfect, like from the get-go. All you just need to do is you need to make sure that you look through the design, and you also need to do a bit of work. Like if you check this here now, this should be right aligned. So I'm just going to, if I put this, you understand, I can right align this and all that. That is the beauty of this. So I'm just going to go back to my Claude chat here. I'm going to copy the CSS. So once you copy the CSS, you just need to come back to your Elementor your Elementor editor here. So I'm just going to search for HTML so I can inject the CSS into it. So I'm going to search for HTML since I'm on the free version. So I'm just going to type this as style, then paste the code into it. As you can see, the design has transformed into something like the almost finished version here. You understand? But the problem now is because of the I told you, I explained something earlier that if you have an account that allows you to make iterations for a long time, you understand, it gives you a better output. Because what the limitation with the Claude free account is, the AI tries to compress all it can do into your token your into the number of tokens it can use. You understand? So that means what that means is it removes some things in the design. You understand that you may need to start adding back yourself. Like for here now, for example, we have um if you check the prototype, you will see that we have this section here. This section here, it is not in the version in the JSON that Claude generated for us. You understand? So, and some other things like that as well, like that it removes. We have an animation here that wasn't generated. If we go back, if we try to scroll down, you can see this animation. It was generated, but because of code conflict, so you need to do a bit of work yourself actually. So for this now, if I just try to like move things around. If I turn this to full width and make this a percentage of 50, you understand the code is actually there, but you just need to like do a bit of manual work as well so that you can um get what you can get the results that you need to get, you understand. So another way that I was able to combat that is I looked at what was missing, you understand, and I came back to Claude here and I opened um the first prototype that was generated, which is the first landing page prototype. Then I copied it into my notes editor, you understand. Then I can then use my browser inspect. When I check this on the front end, I can use my browser inspect, like this image here is missing, what is the image class name, you understand. Then I can come here, then I can search for it, you understand, to know which stuff is missing. Then I can then say, okay, I want to manually come down here into this container here. Then I want to drag an HTML widget here, then copy and paste the code directly into there, you understand. The cool thing about this method is if you're someone that is a bit crazy on animation like I am, is that you, for this kind of animation now, it is a bit too basic for me. So if I was going to do this version, if I was going to build this website live, what I would have done is given I would have concentrated on this animation box here, you understand, this animation here. I would have concentrated on it, then told Claude what to do. Like for this particular animation, I need you to do this, do that, do this, do that. You understand? Animate it in a certain way that makes more sense. You understand? So that is the advantage of this. So then, if it had done that, all I need to do is just go back to Claude and copy and paste in the HTML stuff there. Since this is an animation, yes, you don't need to edit text and all that. So we also have the version 2. Remember, I told you some things are not editable in this version here. So I then went back to Claude and told it that, okay, now the conversion makes sense, but there are some limitations, some things it's outputted lazily because of the token limit on the free version. So I wanted to go a bit further and try to make everything editable, you understand, which is actually what it did. But again, because of the token limit, it removed some things that should be there, which you have to go back and forth with the AI, with Claude for. You understand that it remove this patch, you need to put it back into the JSON file, you understand. So this is the bento grid from here, which we you can see this is just an HTML code, but this is the bento grid here. You can see everything is editable except from this animation part that is still CSS. But the caveat is, if you can see this design, everything is of equal height. But if you can see this looks more like the design is different. So those are the downsides. If you come down to the pricing as well, this, it also forgot to convert this into full um Elementor widgets, but that is not really much of a thing. So you have some design things to do, like here and there, some customizations to do here and there, but ultimately you can achieve the same result as the prototype in as little time that it would take you to have to redesign this by yourself. If I was going to redesign this by myself, it would have taken me more time than it took me to actually do this, to actually use this method, you understand. So basically, as I said, I'll drop this link in the description, then you can come back there. Then I hope this helps you in creating the websites of your dream. So if you like this video, please remember to like, subscribe. I have more videos coming up for you to actually check out, and I have more things to actually talk about. So thank you.